Hey guys, so today I got a fuel tank that I'm putting in here on a Jeep Grand Cherokee, or actually it's a Commander. And anyways, we're replacing the skid plate, and that skid plate itself probably weighs 50, 60 pounds. And then I got a fuel tank here that is almost full. So I'm here by myself this morning trying to put this thing in here, and there is no way that I'm gonna get that onto that, and then that onto the jack, and then into the vehicle. So I wanted to show you a little trick here that I've used in the past, and instead of trying to pump this thing out by hand or siphon out the gas and messing around with that, we're simply just gonna power up the fuel pump and have it pump right into that gas can there. So I'm gonna show you how we do that. All right, so first things first, you gotta figure out your power and your ground for your fuel pump. So this one's pretty obvious. We got red and black, but the big teller for you is that it's a larger size wire. With that larger gauge wire that's on there, that's telling you that there's a decent amount of amperage that's running through it, which means it's for the fuel pump. So those other two wires that are here, that is for your sender to tell you how much fuel is in the tank, so your level sensor. So those guys don't need much power at all. They're just sending out information so that you know how much gas is in the tank. So what we're after is the thicker gauged black wire and the thicker gauged red wire. So if we come over here to this connector, you can see that basically those same colors are there. And what I have set up here is two wires that run right into that connector there. See if you can see that. All right, so I am nice that I got these that are here that are a quick, safe way of doing this. You don't want these wires to touch one another, so you need them to be insulated. So if you're using some alligator clips, or if you got some leftover terminals laying around, that kind of thing, that would be ideal. And just make sure that they are covered so that they can't touch one another. So basically all I'm gonna do here is hook that guy up. Bear with me here. Trying to do this one-handed. All right. So what I have for my power source, since this is out of the vehicle, I just have a jump pack. And this jump pack, you can actually manually force it to give out the power. Sometimes certain jump packs will sense that there's no voltage there and they won't turn on. But this one here's got a button. You can use this. You can use just a regular 12-volt battery. A deep cycle would be ideal because it's probably going to take a little bit to get this fuel out of this tank. Otherwise, you can hook directly to another vehicle that's running. There are different types of options that are out there to try to get the 12 volts over to this pump that's here. So, all right, so we have 12 volts here. I have the hose that is the feed line for the tank. You can see that it runs here, runs all the way across, and it runs up into here. So we're gonna go ahead and power this up. There it is, you saw a little spark. Another good reminder is that you are having fuel and you are going to create sparks. So make sure that you're as far away as you possibly can so you're not creating any kind of major fires. But let's take a look. This pump's running. As you can see here, fuel tank's emptying out into this container now. All right, guys, so we got this gas can's full. So we're gonna have to get this guy out of here and then get another can to empty out the other. All right, guys, so unfortunately, figures, my other gas cans are all full. And normally I'd put this into a caddy, but I need it down low onto the ground, and I don't feel like getting extra hoses and so on. So I'm actually using an empty diesel container, and I know everybody's gonna freak out that I'm putting gasoline in with diesel, but I'll let you in on a little secret. Diesel fuel is a detergent, and it is totally okay to put a tiny, tiny bit of diesel fuel into a gasoline engine. So it actually will help clean your fuel injectors and your fuel system, surprisingly. Now, you don't want to do this the other way around, though, because on a diesel vehicle, gasoline, not cool. That will definitely cause some issues and some problems. But on this particular scenario, since we have a gasoline vehicle, we are okay having a tiny bit of diesel fuel mixed with this, and I'll just have to make sure I clean this container when I'm fully done. So we're gonna go ahead and fire this guy back up again. We already got 5 gallons filled up there, and we are gonna see how much fuel we can get here. That last can, I know I didn't have the video run the entire time, but it probably took about less than 5 minutes to fill up that tank. Usually these fuel pumps, you'd be surprised on how much gas they actually pump in. This system's got a return line on there, so they pump a ton of fuel up to the motor, and then whatever it doesn't need, it just flows it right back to the tank, essentially. So you got a pretty good gallons per minute type fuel pump that's on most vehicles. All right, guys, so we got a little over 10 gallons of fuel out of this thing. I don't have any more containers this morning, so it is what it is, but we were able to remove quite a bit of weight out of this tank. So as you can see, she is plumb full. All right, so now let's see what we can do with this tank and how much it weighs and how much is left on it. Disconnect that. So much better, so much better. So at least now it is manageable, and you can do this, you know, in the vehicle. There's no issue with doing this in the vehicle. This connector is fairly easily accessible. I would have normally have done this, but I didn't know exactly how much it was going to weigh, and I didn't know how much that skid plate was going to weigh. I don't have the skid plate in here anymore, but there wasn't much left of it, so I didn't have much to go off of until I actually got the part for the skid plate. And that skid plate is way heavier than I thought it would be. So with that said, now we're gonna go ahead and get that tank onto there, and then we can get that into the vehicle. And so if you're doing, you know, if you got a fuel pump that's failed, obviously you can't do this since it's a little bit different. But if for some reason you're dropping a tank out, changing straps out, or changing out a sender, that kind of thing, this is definitely a very quick and easy thing to do.